Greetings. I wanted to talk just a bit about an adult level of critical thinking, skepticism. It's necessary. We don't want to be suckers. We don't want to be cynics. That's very childish. It's adolescent. Nothing is real. Everybody's a phony. But on the other hand, we're responsible for our errors. There are so many, especially in something, like what we're talking about, health and fitness. You'd think that would be the easiest thing that people would know about. But especially with nutrition, with diet, it's so emotional. Everything is so emotional about food. You've got a feeling. Your mother gave you a cookie when you were crying, and we have Christmas and Thanksgiving and Halloween and all this food-related stuff. There's so much involved from our society, from our culture. Every emotion that we have, we can soothe ourselves with taste buds. Food is nourishment. It's the first comfort that we ever had. We come out of the womb, we can't even see. Everything is just a blur of light. The nerves are not, they're not calibrated yet. So, but and pretty quick we are nursing. You have to learn how to do that. Some babies, they take a while. It can be a problem. But so we're nursing. The very first comfort is being held and having our taste buds stimulated. That's primal, and it doesn't have to ever be modified. If you want to train a dog, you do it with little treats, and they'll stop barking and they'll start being trained. If you want to train kids, you're not bribing kids. You're rewarding their good behavior. It's payment. Well, they should be good just because. Yeah, they should be. Like everybody should be happy. But there are elements that we have to earn with our behavior. A young fella said to me, well, everything is a few years ago. He said that he wanted everybody to be happy. And I said, no, you don't. Yeah, I do. And it's a nice, idealistic, I'm a good person, I'm tolerant, I'm for everybody, and you just need one example. I do not want the child molester to be happy. I want the child molester to be very, 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 very unhappy. Not just because I want them punished, because that's the emotion that I have about destroying psyches and being inhumanly selfish. But there's just an overall, you want to discourage the behavior. And so happiness should not be your right. You earn it. The potential for happiness, the Constitution, the pursuit of happiness, not the right of happiness. There's a lot to be said about the common sense of the Constitution and how it has been twisted and perverted. I'll talk about this just a bit. There's the 3/5 compromise, and it's indentured, enslaved. They didn't use that word, but people in bondage were going to be counted for the purposes of having congressional representation, but no vote for them, no citizenship for them, nothing but chattel slavery for them. That's crazy. That's just stupid. You get to count people in a totally selfish way. Well, at first it's human nature to do that, but they made that compromise, and it's a compromise with the devil. That's what Garrison called it, the really hardcore abolitionist anti-slavery guy. I think he hated America, and he hated the Constitution because of that compact with the devil. So here's my point. Suppose that compromise had not been made. There would have been no Constitution. And what will have happened is the Articles of Confederation were not working. What would have happened is the country would have divided into North and South, and the North would have been free, and the South would have been enslaved, and there would have been a confederacy that much earlier. And the United States would never have been as powerful. The northern, the industrial part would never have been as powerful. And who knows what horror would have resulted from a lack of the United States in the world for such an instance as, say, the First World War and the Second World War. So there are stupid, stupid wars and just stupid people doing selfish things and destructive things for their own wrong reasons. And then there's a greater good. And I'm saying this because we don't want everybody to have their way. Now, that's such an obvious thing. I'm saying it because we have to have a capacity for critical thinking. So, in health and fitness, those two things where there's so many lies, so many deceptions, so much ignorance, so much self-delusion, how do we fix that? And if it's too good to be true, well then. So there are products that you can buy. It's all that marketing. You've heard me talk about that before, perhaps. Buy my product. It's so good. It used to be that presidents did not campaign. Their party did, their workers did, but the president, the candidate, would not go out and say, vote for me, I'm so good. Well, that has changed, and it's turned into this nasty, nasty popularity contest. Honestly, I do not want the president to be a guy I'd want to sit down and have a beer with. This is not high school popularity. I don't care if the character is as nasty can be. You hire him to do a job, and that is to run the executive branch of the federal government and to have a major, major say in foreign policy. And it's what's going to promote the greatest good. That's the guy you vote for. How competent is this fellow going to be, I say fellow, going to be to promote your interests? That's the guy you vote for. Not the guy who's like you, not the guy who's got the nice smile or the popularity, who's competent. And I'm not being political right now. It's just pragmatics. You're hiring someone to do a job. You're not hiring him to run your barbecue. So, marketing. It's such an obvious thing to complain about. People are so hypocritical and they're so dumb and they don't realize. Well, let's make it practical. Let's bring it down to a real level, to this level. There's a product like activated water, and it's got some kind of, it's water, and somehow it's charged with an extra electron or whatever it is. And you'll find there are people on like a TED Talk, and it really is true. It really does work. It's somehow structured water. I don't know. Maybe it does work. I don't know of any reason why it would. It's there are people who promote the use of hydrogen peroxide, H2O2, and they say that it's somehow really, really good for your whatever it is. Now, I've looked at that, and I've tried it, and it never made a lot of sense to me because the moment that you drink it, you put it in your water and you drink it down, and you've got this extra, you've got an extra oxygen. Somehow it's going to get inside your bloodstream. No, it is not going to get in your bloodstream. As soon as it touches a cell, it's going to release its oxygen. If you get a scrape or a cut and you put hydrogen peroxide on it, it bubbles and sizzles. That is two things happening. It's killing germs. And if it gets the chance, it's killing the cell. And it's also releasing the oxygen. So what would hold the integrity of a hydrogen peroxide molecule together in your mouth, down your throat, in your stomach, in the acid of your stomach, and then through your duodenum, which is highly acidic, or rather alkalizing, neutralizing acid, and then it gets into your intestine, the small intestine. How does it survive that? And I've never seen it addressed. I've looked because I want to know. And naturopaths and alternative healers will absolutely say this is a thing. Or like they'll say homeopathy. The lack of the presence of an atom has power. That's magical thinking. Maybe it's true. Maybe there are vibrations. It doesn't seem to be testable, doesn't seem to work, but maybe it is. So there are people are selling these ideas. And does it make sense? Yeah, maybe it doesn't make sense to you, but you're wrong. You don't have the information. Your thinking process is wrong. Okay, I can understand that. There's a product called Kangen water. Now, I don't want to be, kicking somebody's begging bowl away. People buy these machines and they... But if nothing else, as I have read, you put a proprietary powder into the machine, and some of that powder is sugar. So it's mineralized water, and it's got this special capacity, but it just seems like I would say hoax. I won't say fraud. It may be true believers who go with this. They've got their theory. I don't think it's deep critical thinking. You don't want to be hyper critical, but if there's no harm in it, then it's just a kind of a superstition. And superstitions don't have to be harmful. So another example is. They used to advertise, I don't know if they do anymore, I haven't watched television for quite a while, decades, really, a decade. But there used to be a shake weight, and it would be advertised for older people, and you'd be sitting on the couch watching TV, and you could have this little sort of baton, and you would shake it back and forth, and it had something inside that would pull one way, pull the other way, and you had to stop its momentum by pulling it the other way. So it was a very, very, very mild push and pull, like a very mild. And look, that's a thing. It's a little tiny thing. Something is actually happening. You're doing a new movement. Your heart rate may go up, like very, very light curls. And if you're very old, then this is the thing. I'm convinced, don't know, but I know human nature, that people bought these things for grandma or, an invalid, and it was used for some number of times, and then it's never used again. Or the grandkids come and use it. So that's a shake weight. There used to be, and I'm sure there still is, you'd put a kind of a girdle on, an electric girdle, and it would put a little electricity into your muscles, and it would make you twitch. It would make your abs spasm or contract. And oh, look, I'm going to get abs because look at my abs are contracting. Problem is, it's not. It doesn't get to the brain. It's just an entirely local phenomenon. It doesn't generate a response, an exercise response. So it's not effective. There's the other kind of a sort of girdle that it just makes you sweat. And you wrap it around your whatever body part, and it makes you sweat. Well, absolutely. That body part is going to get a little smaller. The interstitial tissue, fluid is going to be sweat away. And before it can be replaced, it's going to be drier. It's going to be a little dehydrated, as it were. And so, yeah, you are there. But as soon as you drink some salt or drink some water, you're going to plump up again. It's like the sauna. You don't get leaner. You get fatter. You've lost weight, but you haven't lost fat. So if I have 20 pounds of fat and I'm 200 pounds, and then I have 20 pounds of fat and I'm 180 pounds, the ratio is in terms of the proportion, I'm fatter than I was. I've got to get my water back. Not that you want to dehydrate yourself for 20 pounds, but you see my point. You're not losing fat. As a matter of fact, you're preserving fat because you're eliminating the need for body heat by being hot like that. Your body can stop generating its own, as it were, body heat. So you're preserving fat because fat is what your body uses to generate body heat. So you're a little fatter than you were. Now, really, a little bit, yeah. Is it important? It might be negligible. But if you're going in the direction you don't want to go, why are you doing that thing? Is there another benefit? Maybe, but it's probably not the benefit that you think you're getting. So the point is that common sense skepticism. You need to do, this is what you know. You know that well-rounded nutrition is going to do you some good. You don't know that such and such a exotic product is going to do you some good. It has to do with deficits, with deficiencies. I've mentioned it. When I started jiu-jitsu, the first 3 years, I did it 3 hours a day, 5 days a week. And that's a lot of jiu-jitsu. And as I say, I was in my mid and late 40s when I was doing that. And the workload really mounted up. And I was feeling pretty bad because it's hard work. And so, you hone things down. You notice that, I don't feel very good. So you make sure you get water, and you make sure that you're replacing some of the biochemicals that you're using as best you can. So that's the recovery drink that I haven't talked about it. I've referenced it. I've referred to it. Very smart, very necessary if you train a lot. Not the Gatorade. I'm going to lose my train of thought here. I'm talking about jiu-jitsu. But in the olden days, and I'll just say it, in the 60s, when I was a kid, Gatorade was, it's from Florida. It's the Gators, the football team, I think. And it was a recovery drink, and it became this huge commercial thing. There was one flavor of Gatorade, and it was very salty. And it was meant to replace your electrolytes. That was its job. And it became this big commercial thing, and it stopped being Gatorade, that's for sure. And it just became another sugar drink or whatever its sweetener is. I haven't had Gatorade since the 60s, so I don't know. But the purpose, the noble purpose, has changed. So I'm not going to lose my train of thought. Recovering from jiu-jitsu, the commercial brands, the products, maybe, but you can, and sometime I'll do it, I'll put it up. You make it yourself. You make enough for a week. If you're going to work 6 days, then you just do the math, and you put it in a big jug, and you shake it up, and you take 1/5 or 1/6 of it. So it's a little more concentrated, and then you've got your appropriate with the actual things, not proprietarial. So that's recovery. My point is, if you don't replace what you need, you've used it, you haven't replaced it, there are going to be recovery issues, and there's going to be a deficit. You're deficient. And the specific point that I want to make, so I was in my later 40s, and feeling like I'd been stamped on by elephants, just the ache, the overall full body ache, like I'd climbed a mountain every day. If you've ever done that, just you wake up and it's, you're so limbs are heavy. And I puzzled that out, and it was inflammation, exercise-induced inflammation. So I went on a serious, and I've maintained it, anti-inflammation diet. And there are herbs, boswellia, and any number. I won't go into it, but and seasonings like garlic and ginger that are anti-inflammatory. But here's my point: I had not been supplementing, and I hadn't really been getting adequate sources of omega-3. And I did the research, I looked into it, and omega-3 had this good reputation. I tried it, and I was mega dosing. And this is the one exception that I make to being freaky vegetarian. Fish oil, omega-3 fish oil. Now, sometimes I say to myself, I'm not going to use that anymore, and I'll use flaxseed oil, which is excellent, but it's not as good in the sense that your liver has to take that molecule, that fat ALA, and your liver has to do the work. And it makes ALA. Hopefully it does. Maybe your liver has been damaged and it doesn't properly. Well, then if you're not making your your omega-3, then you have to take omega-3. And there are algae sources, but I don't use that because I want more. I'm pretty typical American. I want a lot. And I'm not wrong about that. They say a gram or two or whatever it is of the pills. Don't take the pills. They're rancid. They are highly likely to be rancid. If you ever have taken omega-3 fish oil pills and it's fishy and you get the burps, it's rancid. It's garbage. Throw it out. You were robbed. Get your money back or just don't use it because it's rancid. Rancid is toxic. So you get the liquid, either flaxseed oil, which is good. It's a nice oil. You put it on salads if you want, or inside your smoothie. It's very good. Makes it rich and creamy. And you can do the same thing not on your salad, but in your smoothie. That's what I do. I will put enough liquid omega-3 in my smoothie so that it visibly rises, and that's pretty much on a daily basis. That's more than I need. But it's not super expensive. You can get it online. It's pretty cheap, reasonably cheap, and for the benefit. Because I was doing jiu-jitsu all those years ago, and I just was, oh man. I'd sit in my vehicle before I was going to go in, and I just, oh, this is so hard, oh. And you kind of creak yourself up, and I'd roll, and then you have a few minutes rest, and I would just, when I was going to start again, I'd just be all stiff. Just kind of like the mummy of Amun-Ra rising from the dead. That's what I felt like. Started to megadose. And what I tell folks is 3 tablespoons. If you haven't been doing it, 3 tablespoons. Started to megadose within 3 days. It was 95% better. That's the number that I made up, but it was dramatic. Now, why was it dramatic? Because there was a deficiency. And my point is, there are all kinds of products. You try this and it's going to be amazing and you'll feel great. Almost always not. But sometimes yes. And how did this one product do so much good? Because you had a deficiency. You keep on using it, you're not going to get better and better and better. You've simply eliminated that problem. And if you fix your diet up, clean your diet up, you're not going to, it didn't cure it. It just gave your body the chance to fix it. And then it's a necessary ingredient. There are essential amino acids, 8 or 9, but call it 9. There are essential fatty acids, 3 of them, 3. Omega-3, 6, 9. And there's 12 and 15, but, so what? Omega-3, you have to get it. It's essential. There are things that your body needs to do that it cannot do if it does not have omega-3. You must have it. The way you have to eat sources, your body cannot make essential amino acids. They're essential because they're essential that you eat them. You don't make them. You make your own amino acids, but not these ones. Same with the essential fats. When you get fat, you made that fat. You constructed it, your liver, put it together. It's not essential because you can make it. You can't make omega-3. You make omega-3. You can't make ALA. You hear what I'm saying? So there's omega-3. You've got to get it from a dietary source. There's omega-6. Avoid it. Omega-6 is the vegetable oils and the seed oils. And yeah, they're essential. You need them. But you don't need that much. A normal diet will get you the omega-6s. And then omega-9, it's not hard. It's so hard to come by. But omega-3 is hard to come by. You've got to have a source of it in walnuts and flaxseed, and there are any number. Because I am of the age that I am, and because I do more than just about anybody my age, and it's not like I'm so amazing. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm driven. Maybe I just enjoy it and don't want to quit. Whatever the reason is, I do some tough stuff. Not tough for you, maybe, but it's tough enough. But I enjoy it. And I don't want to not be able to do these things. So I have to supplement some of these things. You absolutely need to, as it were, supplement essential things, even if it's